Let's be honest for a moment. Every time the Middle East heats up, the news treats it like some random geopolitical accident. Analysts sit around their tables, drawing arrows on maps, pretending the chaos is unpredictable. But if you actually have read the Bible, it's almost awkward how predictable it really is. Seriously. For thousands of years, Scripture has pointed to the Middle East as the epicenter of world-changing events. Not Europe, not Washington, not Beijing, the Middle East. And yet every time tensions rise in places like Iran, Israel, Syria, or the surrounding region, people act shocked. Shocked. Meanwhile, anyone who has read the prophetic sections of the Bible are sitting there thinking, yes, that's exactly where everything was supposed to happen. Let's talk about it. First, consider Israel. In Ezekiel 37, the prophet described Israel being regathered as a nation after being scattered. For centuries, critics mocked the idea. They said a dispersed people could never return and rebuild their nation. Then in 1948, Israel reappeared on the world stage, exactly where the Bible said it would. Now fast forward to today. Israel sits at the center of global tension. International pressure surrounds it. Military threats circle it. The world debates it constantly. Again, exactly what prophecy said would happen. Now let's talk about Iran, or ancient Persia, or Elam. In the Bible, the ancient kingdom of Persia is repeatedly mentioned in prophetic passages involving future conflict surrounding Israel. Modern Iran occupies that same territory. Iran openly calls for the destruction of Israel while building alliances with other regional powers. But wait, it gets even more interesting. The prophet Ezekiel 38 through 39 describes a future coalition of nations that would come against Israel in the last days. Among those listed is Persia. Persia. Not maybe, not metaphorically, Persia. Now pause for a second and think about that. Thousands of years ago, a prophet wrote that Persia would be aligned with a coalition hostile towards Israel in the last days. And today, one of the most outspoken enemies of Israel on the planet is, or has been, Iran, former Persia. Coincidence or pattern? But here's what people get confused about. Prophecy isn't about predicting every headline. It's about recognizing the trajectory of history. The Bible describes a world where tensions increase around Israel, alliances shift, and the Middle East becomes a focal point of global instability before Christ returns. Sound familiar? Now, before anyone panics, remember something important. Prophecy isn't meant to scare you. It isn't meant to scare believers. It's meant to prepare you. Jesus didn't say when you see all these things, freak out. He said the opposite. In Luke 21:28, he said, when these things begin to come to pass, then look up, lift your heads, for your redemption draws near. In other words, prophecy is not a doomsday clock. It's a reminder that God is still in control of history. Empires rise, empires fall. Alliances shift, but the script was written long before today's news cycle ever existed. So the next time you see headlines about the Middle East exploding again, remember this. The Bible wasn't reacting to history. History is slowly catching up to the Bible. And if prophecy is unfolding exactly the way Scripture said it would, then maybe, just maybe, it's time people started taking the Bible a lot more seriously. If you want more biblical insight on prophecy, spiritual warfare, and how believers should prepare for what's coming, subscribe to this channel, share this message, because the world may be confused about where history is going, but Scripture isn't.